P. Diddy.
784 dildos have now been confiscated on top of the 1,000 bottles of lube. This was a busy, busy man.
I don't know. I'm just speaking from me personally. I don't need no dildos.
You never know.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another thrilling episode of the TomCast. I'm Tom Chericello, the Tominator. Lovely Morgan is with us. Hello.
Hello.
Shout out. We went for the, my strategy in the beginning was to try to market up and coming corporations, that would advertise with us.
Wawa is up and coming.
Wawa's
they're
pretty
established.
big, but they're established, but. Now I just go with Coke, right? I mean, maybe
You've been craving
they'll
that
throw
all day.
money at anyone.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to drink. I've been drinking water for the last few years, a lot, because Diet Coke is bad for you.
So we, on the Sarasota Speaks podcast, just had Dr. De Silva on, and afterwards he was saying that you might as well drink the regular Coca-Cola versus the diet because the diet is so bad for you.
But I drink so few of them.
Yeah.
It's once every 3 months.
Some people drink multiple a day. Which,
Donald Trump drinks a ton of it.
I mean, they're addicting. I get it. Well, I like the Coke Zeros. Actually taste better, but they are really, really bad for you. You should put lemon in your water.
What do you say about the Coke Zero? Is that bad for you too?
I actually didn't. I think it's all the same. You should just drink. You shouldn't drink any of it, but you should put lemon in your water, or you can get those organic lemonade packs at Publix, and I'll put that in a water bottle, and honestly, it tastes great.
I drink either water or unsweet tea from Publix.
That's good.
There's no sugar in that.
But what do you drink after 5 p.m.?
Tito's. I don't know how bad that is for you. There's a jury still out on that.
Yeah.
I mean, some doctors will say, 1 is good for you or whatever.
What about 10?
I never had 10. I wouldn't know.
Lies.
All right. The first thing we got to touch on, as most of our viewers know, we come to from Sarasota, Florida. Hurricane Helene is on the way.
Helene.
Yep.
We're on H.
Yeah, they're on H. It's supposed to hit as a Category 3, which is the hurricane scale is called the Saffir-Simpson scale. I think one was a meteorologist and one was not a meteor. There were 2 scientists that came up with that. In 1973, they invented that scale. So Category 3 is winds of 111 to 129 miles an hour.
Wow. What was Hurricane Ian? I forget.
A 5.
Oh,
That's the highest one, yep.
Okay. All right. Well,
2 years ago, Ian hit on September 28, 22. So in 4 days will be 2 years. Mm-hmm. The second anniversary.
That's crazy. What are you doing to prep? You live in an apartment, right? So
yeah.
do you have to do anything?
I'm not really worried about. I live on the second floor. If I lose power, I'll just sleep. I got I went and bought water at Walgreens. Shout out to Walgreens last night. So I got my water. I bought some.
I don't really have any food
that doesn't go bad. I bought Atkins no carb chocolate chip cookies.
No carb chocolate. What the hell is in it?
It tastes like garbage.
Yeah, you're gonna regret that.
It tastes like cardboard. But I'm trying to lose weight for the wedding anyway, so
yeah.
I don't care if I don't eat for 2 days.
Me too. It's not working.
But
so do you see a lot of fraud during hurricanes?
There is. It's funny that you mentioned that. There is an element of hurricane fraud. You know what some people do? Say they owe on their car a lot of money and they can't afford the payment, or the car's worth less than what their loan is. They'll just take it somewhere and park it.
That's what I was saying. What do you think the most common fraud is? You think it's car?
I think it's more with hurricanes. It's more cars. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously.
That's an easy thing to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's not easy to. I mean, what else would you try? To get house damage?
When I used to investigate them back in the day, I worked for insurance companies, and so somebody's car would be parked right by the beach. And I'm like, well, what were you doing there? You live 100 miles away. Oh, I went to visit my friend. I'm like, oh, who's your friend? Or they'd be like, I went to go eat. I'm like, well, what restaurant? You know, like there's usually a trail.
Well, you could probably say I was going to check on my friend because they were in a dangerous area, so I was trying to pick them up. I couldn't, so I had to leave the car because it started to flood. Not like I would do that. I have no car that I'm trying to do fraud on. But, I mean, how do you really prove that, though? How would you say, well, you know what, I think you're lying? You can't.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Now, with I handle property insurance claims on behalf of homeowners. And very rarely do I get into issues over personal property, like their furniture. Mm-hmm. It's usually about the house. So, and obviously you could say I'm biased, but I rarely, and I tell my clients and the insurance company personnel, if I think this claim doesn't smell right, I'm out.
Yeah, you don't want to be involved.
Find somebody else. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely correct. There is an element of hurricane fraud that goes on, where people try to, almost any natural disaster, there's people that are trying. I told you last week about people fake their death, 9/11.
Yeah, that's
or was
crazy.
that 2 weeks ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, that's awful. That's the low of the low, I would say.
Yeah, there's a lot, bad. Insurance companies, rightfully so, like they complain. I've shared many times, I'm not an insurance company hater. Mm-hmm. But, fraud is a big problem. Like, they lose billions, and it affects everyone because we all pay.
Right.
Like, but
it's
having
supposed to be for the people who need it, not these scammers out there. So, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, it's like, how do you know?
But I have, like, one client right now. I don't like to talk about individual cases, and he's an older guy, successful, wealthy guy. And when Hurricane Ian hit, he didn't want his rates to go up, so he tried to fix his roof. And, 4 roofers came out and said, look, you need a roof.
You need a new roof.
It's clearly damaged from, and he goes, just try to fix it. And he spent, maybe $6,000 in repairs. And then finally, the last roofer said, hey, you need to make a claim. You need to replace your roof. And he decided to make a claim.
Well, that's not fraud, though.
No. But the insurance company's fighting, well, why'd you wait 2 years and this and that? And, the guy was trying to, everyone in his neighborhood got a roof. He should have just made the claim 2 years ago.
Well, right. He was just being stubborn, and he was thinking, hey, if I just patch it up, I'll save money. But that actually was the wrong decision because he did have the insurance. And he could have gotten the money to fix it.
I tried to keep my rates down and save the insurance company money, and now they're putting him through the ringer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he did anything wrong.
No.
He just wasn't ready to fix it and go through that process.
My
he
point
probably
is,
should.
they should pay that guy.
Oh, for sure.
And
he genuinely needs a new roof. So the insurance should cover it.
It's got, one expert I sent out told me he's got 200 broken tiles. 200.
Wow. That's crazy.
But,
guess we'll see what happens after next week.
It was a problem before. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. It's supposed to hit, I think, Thursday, but it's come to the point. I think Florida's power. I mentioned last week, even though I went back to New Jersey and I was born there, lived most of my life there, Florida's home. In my mind, my close friends are here, and my clients, I just love it. But it's a big problem with insurance. A lot of people can't afford to pay their insurance.
Yeah, insurance is really expensive.
And you can say, well, let the state do it. Well, it's coming from somewhere. Someone's got to pay for this.
Yeah, that'll be in your taxes somehow.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be in your taxes. So, I think one answer is, and the politicians in Florida have been addressing this for 10 years or more, probably 20 years. And you can sell more, no pun intended, watered down policies. There are a lot of insurance policies. You're going to be in that position where you can get coverage. If your diamond ring gets stolen, your homeowner's insurance pays for it.
Oh, I got this covered, but not through homeowners. They told me not to.
Yeah, you schedule it separate.
Used a different company.
But or you have coverage for if you own a home and you have insurance, there are some policies. If your dog bites somebody, you have coverage. Or if you say you're out in a bar, you get in a fight, your insurance might cover you if you're at fault. Mm-hmm. So they can sort of just cut these policies down just to the house.
Yeah.
And take away all these frills, and that could help lower rates.
Yeah.
There's things they could do, or now there's policies where you can't hire a lawyer. There's some companies that are selling that you can't sue.
You can't sue them.
Yeah, if they don't pay.
Oh, well, I would want that one.
Because quite honestly, and I'm happy about this. Like, other attorneys want everybody to hire a lawyer. Like, almost all my clients don't come to me. They had no intention to ever hire a lawyer. Mm-hmm. They're like, I paid my insurance. This thing came. I made a claim. Now they're not paying. Yeah. And they were forced to hire. They didn't have me on speed dial from the first day.
Yeah, they never assumed they would have to.
Yeah, and you know how many people have said to me, they forced me to do it. Like, I didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. And they just weren't responding until I hired you, I guess the bottom line is everybody should just do the right thing.
I agree.
But as I've shared in prior episodes, the most important thing, hurricanes are dangerous. You're talking winds of 100. I mean, even you could be sitting in your house and something a tree branch could blow through your window and kill you. Yep. Like what I do is, like, I won't go anywhere near my windows.
So where do you go?
I'll just, hold up in my bed watching TV.
You have windows in your bedroom?
Well, I do, but I mean, I'll make sure that if something comes through, it can't hit me. I will not be in the line of fire. And then, or if you're out, I mean, flooding.
Well, yeah, it's like, if you don't need to leave your house, don't be one of those stupid people just fucking around trying to drive through the hurricane for fun. Because then also, if you end up needing help because you're out, now you're calling 911 and you're putting their lives at risk when, like, you didn't need to be in that situation. Like, don't waste, the police officers and firefighters' time and resources unless you absolutely have to get somewhere, because it's, like, so important. Don't leave. Just sit inside.
Things people need to do is, batteries, water, non-perishable food, like canned foods, things that you could, last for a couple days. Mm-hmm. Gas. I went to Costco at like 5 o'clock yesterday, and you should have seen the line for gas.
Oh, really?
It took a half hour for me to get gas.
Maybe I should get gas later. I have no food at home either. This is bad. I have a bag of peanuts.
Yep, I have nothing.
I have a lot of water and Gatorade, though.
I have enough water to last me for like a week.
I have 4 cases.
I mean, I have, cash, because sometimes, like, you can't use a credit card if, like, power goes out, mm-hmm. and you have to buy stuff.
If this is a 3, though, and we had a 5 2 years ago, I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right.
Sometimes the category number isn't as critical as where it hits. Like, you could do more damage if you got hit directly with, like, a category 1 than a category 3 where you're out, like, the edge.
Right. Yeah.
So
we'll see. I know Trey will be at work. He's going to be one of the people that's out all day. So if he requires all his staff to come to the office during hurricanes.
If you have a roof leak, who are you going to call?
Strong Roofing. I think they are going to be giving out free tarps, though. He has a lot of them. So
there you go. Give them back to the community.
Exactly.
I like it. My first consultation is always free.
Yes.
And, like, I noticed some people, like, kind of, I don't want to say milk it, but, like, they're just trying to get free legal advice and have no intention of hiring a lawyer,
Well, you're just so enjoyable to talk to, Tom, so people get on and hear your great personality and they just want to chat you up.
I give free legal advice. Tominatorlaw.com. No obligation. All right, so let's all be careful. Hopefully we make it through this, and they say, like, whatever happens by, like, Saturday, we'll be back to normal.
Let it not ruin Heather's birthday on Saturday. We have boat plans.
I don't know. That could be a little rough.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll just post up.
That could be like a Gilligan's Island situation.
Where
Do you even know what Gilligan's Island is?
I've heard of it. Yes, isn't it like Gilla Gilla or something? The song.
It was a show when I was a kid. All right. The next thing is we touched on it last week, is P. Diddy.
784 dildos have now been confiscated on top of the 1,000 bottles of lube. This was a busy, busy man.
I don't know. I'm just speaking for me personally. I don't need no dildos.
You never know. Got to switch things up once in a while, Tom.
I don't know what they're doing with 784.
I mean, what's gross to me about that is that means that he was reusing these dildos on many, many different people. And now I'm like, so were you washing them? Were they getting sanitized? Like, this is a health hazard.
How do you clean a dildo?
How many people were getting STDs at these freak-offs? I mean, come on.
How do people clean dildos? Do they put them in the dishwasher?
You wash them. Soap.
How
do you wash your hands during COVID? It's all the same, but like, who would want to reuse, a dildo that was used on Justin Bieber? Maybe actually people would. I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned him. Like, Khloe Kardashian said that she saw him years ago at a party, a Sean, P. Diddy party, totally naked. Like, everyone was naked.
So since you told me about that this morning, I looked it up on Google, and it was a clip from one of the prior Keeping Up with the Kardashian TV shows.
Yeah.
And the way she was talking about it is she had just gotten back from one of his parties and she was bowling with her sister Courtney. And she was like, yeah, I was just at a party. Like, I landed at 5 a.m. and I came straight here. I haven't gone to sleep yet. And she was like, yeah, and so many people were naked. You would have hated it, Courtney. But then there was a separate scene where she mentioned that she was with Bieber. So, and they were two different scenes of that episode. So I don't know if she was saying like Justin Bieber was naked or he was at that party with naked people. All of these things get,
the media
lost in
once again.
Translation. But she did say, this is 100% recorded, like there was a lot of naked people.
But let's backtrack. So Courtney goes to, Khloe goes to this party like all night and goes bowling afterward.
Well, because she landed, I think she flew home or whatever and went and met her sister. Yeah, she just had never gone to sleep. So she was a partier back in the day.
The Kardashians go bowling? I find that interesting.
This was a long time ago episode. This is like Khloe when she looked different, And so it was...
I think Khloe looks good now.
Yeah. She always looked good. Body positivity here. But... yeah, she did make a lot of changes. But this was a long time ago when they were obviously still famous, but they probably rented out the whole bowling alley so no one else could go there, But it is interesting to see what's coming out with this whole Diddy situation. There was also a video of him for one of his son's birthday parties, and he was listing off the names of everyone who was invited, and now the conspiracy theory is that was actually him just, like, visually saying on camera, like, threatening all the names, like, hey, I know all this stuff about you. You're on this list, so don't fuck with me. I don't know. I hope the truth comes out, whatever that really is. It doesn't seem, go if you want to have sex parties, have them, but you don't have to drug people. If those people don't want to be there, just go find the ones that do. There's plenty of people in LA who will go to these things willingly without needing to be drugged.
It's movie
crazy.
out. What's that movie? I don't even know the name of the movie. It's out now, directed by Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, and Lisa Bonet, their daughter. She's a director now, and it's like kind of on an island, like it's kind of an Epstein thing, but they don't call it Epstein. It's like kind of based on that.
Yeah.
Like these two girls get invited by a billionaire to some island, and there's all weird stuff going on.
Oh wow, I should watch that. Yeah.
The critics actually gave it pretty good review. A lot of times the critics like a movie and I don't like it. And the movie I love, they hate.
We still need to go see that Reagan movie. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it
Let's go
yet.
next week, maybe.
Or like Happy Gilmore, I love that movie.
Aren't they making a second one?
Yeah, they're making it now.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, they're filming it. When I was there, they were filming.
That'll be one we go to Cine Bistro for the opening. Have a few
I'll
drinks.
Tominator, Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have them on the senior tour. But they call it, I don't think they call it the senior tour. Like, if you're 50, you can go on an older player golf tour. Oh. I think they call it Champions Tour, but like Adam Sandler is over 50. Mm-hmm. So I guess maybe they'll have him on the...
in the movie.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah,
I love Adam Sandler. I think he's great.
He's funny. How do you think this whole Diddy thing's going to pan out? What's your prediction?
You know what I was thinking today?
What?
And you don't know anything. Like they haven't released like what they have, like evidence or witnesses. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I don't know why this weird stuff comes in my head. Sometimes I'm thinking like he's charged with federal crimes. And just so you know, the president of the United States can pardon you for a federal offense, but not for a state offense. The governor of that individual state would have to pardon you. Okay. So he's charged with federal crimes. I'm thinking, say Trump wins and pardons Diddy.
He would be an idiot if he did that. That would be like death sentence for him. That would be such a bad start to his presidency. I just don't know why he would do that. Unless he was involved, why would he do that, you know?
You know when they do it? They do it at the end.
Kamala might be the one that does it, but also, like, people would be after her, you know?
Well, they do it at the end of the... You only can be a president twice.
Who did Trump pardon? There was some rapper. Lil Wayne. Yeah. So he did that towards the end of his presidency, I believe.
Usually on the last day. Like Clinton pardoned a lot of people on his last day.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't running again.
Well,
and one of them was, I mentioned on one episode, a commodities trader, a gentleman by the name of Mark Rich. He wasn't no gentleman. He was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And Clinton took a lot of heat for that later. And it turned out that Rich's wife gave a ton of money to the Clintons, like in contributions.
Well, even if he waited 4 years to pardon Diddy, don't you think by then a lot of other people will have been exposed and also get in trouble? Right.
Well, he could be looking at major times, so 4 years would be...
Yeah. I hope he doesn't get pardoned. I mean, this guy sounds like...
There have been a lot of controversial... We could have an episode on presidential pardons. Like, there have been, some really blatant where it was just obviously looking out for their friend, not doing what's right. So I'm not knocking Bill Clinton because it's got on way before that.
Yeah.
Where presidents... I think Clinton might even said he regrets that pardon in Mark Rich.
Wow.
I think even Obama has come out that he regrets a couple of his pardons that he made at the end. Mm-hmm. But I have no idea how that's going to play out. Doesn't look too good. I mean, with what they're coming up with, but maybe it's just consenting adults. Maybe they're making more out of this.
I hope it was just consenting adults because obviously you don't want people to have been harmed. But this just seems like these aren't just rumors that just happen and then he gets arrested. There had to have been something. You don't get arrested for having sex parties. You get arrested because you had children that were being endangered and raped and drugging people. So I feel like part of it, unfortunately, has to be true.
In my opinion, that there's people obviously turned on him or ratted on him, whatever you want to call it. That's probably what's coming.
Yeah, we'll see.
Close to him. Speaking of sex parties, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He dropped out of the election and supported Trump. It's come out that he had a quote unquote relationship with a reporter for a New York magazine, much younger woman than him.
Okay.
Olivia Nuzzi. She's 31. I think he's like 70, but he's married and she's engaged. But the big issue people have with this, she got suspended by her employers. Or she did an article about Kennedy. You're supposed to be
and
objective.
Was it a favorable article?
Not really, but they're regardless of that, they're
too many blurred lines.
Exactly, that's conflict of interest.
Yeah,
you cannot be. They did come out that she's admitted sending nude photos of herself to him.
Why are people so dumb they're still sending nude photos? Just stop.
But they're denying there was a physical relationship, but you admit that you sent nude photos.
It was all digital,
yeah, right.
Virtual relationship.
Yeah, right. How dumb are we supposed to be?
That still counts as cheating, by the way, just so you know, sending, pictures of yourself to the other person. But, geez, how dumb.
Oh, that counts as cheating? I got to write that down.
It does count as cheating. There's emotional cheating, physical cheating, and yes, you can have a text relationship. That's also cheating.
But I think Kennedy claims he only met her one time. It's just...
And then gets nudes. That doesn't add up. That does not. You don't just take the risk of sending this big guy in politics pictures of your vagina. Come on.
My mother, I've shared this. My mother idolized John F. Kennedy. He was young, good-looking president, but the whole family, John F. Kennedy's father was Joe Kennedy, who openly had an affair with Gloria Swanson, who was a film actress in the 1920s, 30s, whatever.
What do you mean openly?
Didn't really try to hide it.
Okay.
Because back then, there was no social media, there was no TV. Mm-hmm. The media, even the newspaper reporters would just ignore it.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy, numerous affairs.
No morals.
I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., the father supposedly had an affair with Marilyn Monroe.
I mean,
was
these
married,
poor
had 8
wives,
kids.
like, were they just tolerating it? Were they at least cheating too?
I think, if you want my opinion, it's just my opinion. I think, I think it's true even now. Like, a lot of women will just, they'll, as long as they're being taken care of and, they have a nice life and they got their big house and their beach house.
I completely disagree with this statement.
I think some women just accept it.
I'm sure there are some women that accept it, but at the same time, like, how fucking pathetic is that? That because you feel like you want a man to take care of you, you need to let him cheat on you, but you're also providing to him as well in different ways. So, I mean, I think it's messed up.
There's
it's
even,
sad.
there are even rumors.
I think these men are just trying to make these women feel like they have to be okay with it. Like, God, grow some balls, women, and, like, speak the fuck up. That's crazy to me.
There are even rumors that Robert F. Kennedy Sr., after his brother got shot, he had an affair with Jackie Kennedy.
Okay.
I don't know how much evidence there is to that effect. I just don't get it. Like, we talked about this before. Like, if you want to cheat, just don't be in a relationship.
Yeah, just be single. Or don't get mad then. I think if the man cheats, the woman should cheat too. Then just fine. That's what your relationship is. But then there's these men who will cheat and be like, well, she can't cheat on me, but I can. It's like, nah. That's not how it works. It goes both ways.
So I don't know how much anybody really cares about it, but I was listening to Howard Stern the other day, and they were talking about it, the Robert F. Kennedy and the young reporter. Mm-hmm. And Howard's sidekick for many years, since I was a young guy, is a woman named Robin Quivers. I like listening to Howard, and I've invited him on our podcast. He has not responded, and Robin Quivers. But Robin said something like, oh, the poor girl lost her job over this, and I'm thinking,
she knew what she was doing. She was 31 years old.
Well, I mean, what do you expect the employer to do? Like, you can't be having relationships with the guy you're writing an article about.
Yeah, it wasn't with her equal staff member. That would be fine. We're both employees of the same company. But yeah, I mean, you're writing articles about him, so they could easily say he's convincing her and telling her what to write because of their relationship, or she just is doing it because she has feelings for this guy. And she's 31 years old. She's an adult. She knew what she was doing. She's also engaged, so I don't feel bad that she lost her job. She was cheating on her fiance. How fucked up is that?
I agree.
It's hard for me to feel bad. She was making bad choices, and she was choosing to make them. She knew what she was doing.
I could see if she was like 18 or something, you could blame the
Right,
guy.
but she's 31 years old. Like, you know what you're doing. You've been around the block. You shouldn't be cheating on your fiance. And even if you were single, you shouldn't be sleeping with the person that you're writing stories on. Like, that's just common sense.
But if you do have any relationship problems and you need legal advice, Tominator.com.
Oh, God.
I remember in law school, like, they don't have a class about prenups. Like, they touch on it for like an hour. So, like, the professors really don't have a lot of experience in that area,
Right.
And they're like talking about it, and I'm like, no, you need to do this. And then I'm like, no, professor. And finally he goes, Tom, you sound like you know something about this. I'm like, yeah, I do.
So you were correcting your professors.
Just related to prenup.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you need to get her a psychiatrist. And they're like, why? Well, she can't say she was crazy later.
Psychiatrist.
That's
manipulative, Tom.
But anyway, all right, let's move on to the baseball season. There's like 6 games left. Now, most people really wouldn't remember this. Like, now everybody's like, football is the best by far. But I remember when I was a kid, like, baseball was the number one sport.
Okay.
Like,
It's just so long, the games.
Their season is so long. They play 162 games. So there's 6 left. Okay. And then they start the playoffs. But the first shout out I want to give is, they haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. The Detroit Tigers, they haven't done it yet. They're on the brink of making the playoffs. The season's not over. They're one game ahead for the last playoff spot. So with 6 games to go, and the last 3 games they play are against Chicago White Sox, who, this is your hometown, Morgan, you need to know this, is the Chicago White Sox have the worst record in the history of baseball.
Oh, wow.
Like, they're in the American League, which was founded in 1901. Mm-hmm. So in 123 years, they're the worst team ever.
The Cubs were good, though, right?
Yeah, the Cubs are okay. They're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the White Sox have the worst record ever. So the Tigers play them in the last 3 games, so that's going to be 3 wins.
Yeah, you already know.
So now they play Tampa Bay today. Actually, I'm going to go watch this right after the podcast. The Tigers are playing Tampa Bay today in Tampa.
Okay, cool.
There'll probably be about 3,000 people there.
I mean, why would anyone ever go to a Sox game if they know how much they suck and that they're never going to win?
Well, no, it really is.
Yeah. And it's in like the south side of Chicago, too.
So, but I want to give a shout out. The city of Detroit takes a lot of heat. Like, you know, I don't know if you remember years ago, like not that many years ago, like 5-10 years ago, they were giving you houses for free. Because what happens is the deterioration of, like, in urban areas, people move, no one wants to buy the house, and it becomes like a crack house. So, and then they're not getting any tax revenue by people paying property tax or utilizing the local businesses. So the city of Detroit was giving house. Imagine if you could get a house for free.
Well, who the hell wants to live in Detroit?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, yeah, I get it, free house, but so was the theory then they'll pay the taxes?
They'll pay taxes. They'll maintain the house.
Yeah.
They'll
probably do it
They'll
up.
frequent local businesses, and it'll just help push the
Build
city
the
up.
community again.
But the population of Detroit has gone from just under 2 million people in 1950 to just over 600,000. Like, the population has decreased by 2/3, mostly due to the industry.
What would happen if everyone just left?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, what if everyone just left?
I'm not here to badmouth Detroit.
It's like an abandoned town.
I'm like happy to see Detroit. You know, maybe they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Isn't that where Eminem's from?
Yeah. Who's famous from Detroit? Eminem. Well, a lot of Motown, like Aretha Franklin. Mm-hmm. Barry Gordy Jr. owned the Motown Records. He's still alive. I believe he's still alive.
Who? Joe Frazier?
No, he's from Philadelphia. Joe Frazier. Boxer. Excuse me. Who are other famous Detroit?
I don't know. Is that where U of M is? Or is it near?
Ann Arbor. It's
Ann
west
Arbor.
of Detroit.
Right.
Not that far. I would guess maybe an hour.
Okay.
Go Blue. Big win last Saturday against USC on the last play of the game. For those who saw the Michigan-USC game, Michigan went right down the field and scored, and it was very close. Like, it was on the 1-yard line. It was very close. Did he score or not? And then the refs put their arms up, and a lot of people, money changed hands based on that. Last one, not of mine.
No,
but,
not Tom.
A lot of that. That was I was watching that game Saturday, Michigan and USC, which is a highly ranked team, University of Southern California. That was a good game. But I'm fired up for Detroit, even though their murder rate is like the 3rd highest in the country.
Sounds great. You should definitely move there for the sake of a
they
free
will start
house.
Tominator law Detroit.
I'll pass. You're not sending my ass to Detroit.
So, like I said, we have 6 games left. The New York Mets are 2 games ahead of making the playoffs. Like, they've been bad for quite a few years also, the Mets. So, they're playing Atlanta right now. I think they're playing Atlanta 3 games in it with Atlanta. So, if the Mets can hold on, you know, they'll make the playoffs. So, you know, it's good to see some new blood in the playoffs, like Detroit, because you have all the big-time teams are in there. Baltimore's going to make it. Cleveland's already in. The Kansas City Royals, another one. That's a small market team. They have a player named Bobby Witt Jr., plays shortstop, the Kansas City Royals. His father was a pitcher in the major leagues, Bobby Witt Sr., but he's a great player, Bobby Witt Jr. He's so fun to watch. I think he's leading the American League in batting average. The Phillies are a great team, Philadelphia Phillies. They could win it all. The Dodgers have Ohtani, the great Japanese player, only guy to ever hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a season. He's just an amazing player. He's making like $70 million a year or some crazy amount.
Wow.
So I do get, like, the baseball season is too long, but I do get fired up for the playoffs. So that's coming up. We got 6 games left.
Cool.
Now we turn it to the NFL. A lot of wacky stuff going on in the NFL, Morgan. Like,
What's that?
I mean, like, anyone who bets on football, I'm ready to jump off a bridge because, like, I mean, all these, like, wacky, like this past weekend, the New York Giants suck. They played the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The Giants won.
Wow.
The Washington Commanders, who are a team, if you remember, listen to the tape, I said they're going to be a lot better. The Commanders, they won. They won last night against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-3. A lot of people thought the Bengals would be good. They're 0-3. We mentioned the Jets last Thursday. Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is 40. I think he's at least 40.
Was he engaged to J-Lo?
No. He's had a lot of high-profile girlfriends.
Sounds like, who was she engaged to? I swear to God.
Affleck.
J-Lo, Aaron Rodgers?
She married Ben Affleck. Shailene Woodley was engaged to.
She was.
Olivia Munn was engaged to.
She was engaged to Aaron Rodgers, though. I'm right.
Who, J-Lo?
Yeah. Well, who was the guy's name?
A-Rod.
A-Rod. That
Alex
sounds
Rodriguez.
like Aaron Rodgers. A-Rod. Aaron Rodgers. Who the hell is he? Oh, Rodriguez.
He was a great shortstop. Played
I don't know
for
shit.
Seattle, Texas, and the Yankees. A-Rod. I saw him at Hooters one day.
Here?
Yeah.
Does he live in Sarasota?
No, he was driving through and he stopped at Hooters.
Wow. Crazy.
We had a drink. Me and A-Rod.
Yeah, you staring at him from
I'm
across
like-
the bar.
I'm like, you're making $100 million a year and I'm buying a drink. You don't make 100. He wasn't making that much. He probably like maybe 50 million.
Still, I'll take it.
So the Minnesota Vikings are 3-0. Like everyone expected them to be horrible. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-0. No one expected them to be really good.
Should be interesting then to see how this all pans out.
Some good games this weekend. Minnesota 3-0 again is at Green Bay. The Philadelphia Eagles, really good game. They beat the Saints in New Orleans. They're playing at Tampa Bay this weekend.
Do games ever get canceled due to weather?
Has to be really bad. Like,
Has there ever been a
thunder and
hurricane?
lightning. Usually they might try to postpone it.
Okay.
Maybe like instead of playing on Sunday, they play it on
well, that's what
Monday.
I mean by canceled. Like literally
Yeah.
moved to the day and time.
It's happened. Like 2 times where they didn't know whether to cancel the NFL was John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. Like, do we play that weekend? And 9/11, they're like, do we play that weekend?
What'd they do? They didn't play.
I didn't play 9/11. I think they might have played after Kennedy got shot. I'd have to look that one up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think what cities would be exposed. Like Tampa Bay's at home, so that could affect it, but it should be gone by Sunday. Well, Atlanta, New Orleans at Atlanta, but Atlanta plays indoors because the storm could be going up through Atlanta. I don't think there's too many games that are at risk. We need our football, Morgan. What the hell? You're canceling.
I'm just asking.
What you talking about, Willis? I was reading about Gary Coleman. That's who played Willis on Different Strokes.
Oh yeah, totally.
He had a lot of health problems, and his parents stole his money.
Yikes.
And like people would make fun of him, like he couldn't even go to a store. You know, like, and he would get
His
mad.
parents stole his money. That's not his fault.
No, I mean, but
Making
like
fun of him?
fans would make fun of him, and like he'd just try to live a regular life.
Oh, like not like haha, you're poor.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
Haha, you're like 3 foot tall. You got cheeks, chubby cheeks.
What was the deal with him? Did
He
he?
had kidney problems, and he died young.
And that's why he was so little.
Yes. And then he became a security guard like after his acting career in like a mall.
Were you one of the fans that made fun of him? Because you're pretty
No, I
happy
liked him.
right now.
I liked Gary Coleman, and he had this one movie I remember when I was a kid. It was very successful called On the Right Track. He plays a homeless kid in Chicago, living in a subway station or bus station, and he could pick the winners of the horses at the racetrack, but he couldn't win for himself. So he would give the horses
money.
to other people,
Okay.
and they would make all this money.
And he's just living in a.
It was a happy.
cubby.
It was like a Disney kind of movie.
It doesn't sound happy.
I was happy at the end.
Oh,
Like he
okay.
got adopted at the end
Oh,
and wasn't homeless anymore. And
good.
Gary Coleman. I don't know why he came up, but it just entered my brain. That would be a good movie, maybe like make a movie about the life of Gary Coleman.
That would be a good movie.
I don't know.
I mean, now everything you're saying, I was like horrified for the kids. So.
But he was a star really young and made a ton of money. His parents stole it. And then he had all these health problems. He died he was married, like he had women. He had like girlfriends and stuff. Okay. They say he was like really aggressive, like, I'm Gary Coleman. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, he probably had to be. He was trying to get it in.
When the girl said no, he said, what you talking about? I shouldn't be making
Oh my God. You were the fan that made fun of him for sure. Oh God.
I watched that show. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he had a sister on it named Kimberly. She was pretty hot. Dana Plato, and she died of like drugs. She ended up dying. So it's kind of tragic. Like, no one's left on that. Who was on that show there all day.
All these people on TV shows are fucked up, unfortunately.
I guess that like you can't. Like, even when you see like these athletes are young and they're like 25 years old and making $100 million a year and they end up broke, and like, if you gave me like a ton of money when I was 25, it would not have ended well.
I think I would have been smart enough to want to save it so then I didn't have to work one day. That would have been my mindset. Like, great, don't spend all of it so then I can like go on vacations and travel the world. That's what
I gave out 2 checks yesterday to clients, and like they were like so happy, and like that's such a good feeling. Like, if you could help someone, like that's advice I give to any young person out there. Like, you want to be successful and maybe have a, beautiful house and whatever you want, a car or a boat or whatever, but like doing good and helping other people is like such a great reward. I never thought I would say that. If you told me that when I was 25, I'd be like, you're crazy. What you talking about, Willis? Am I going to get sued now? Cease and desist from whoever owns what you're talking about?
Probably. Does he have any kids?
No. I don't know who owns that. Maybe we can trademark that.
Yeah.
Put T-shirts out there. All right. Well, I think that does it. So we got some really good football going on. We mentioned in college football, what were the big games? I said USC, Michigan was a big game. Tennessee Volunteers. Go Vols. They're number 5 in the country.
Tennessee Volunteers?
Yeah, that's what their nickname is, the Volunteers, because that was not the American Revolution. I think, what war was that? Because their guys volunteered.
Okay.
I think maybe it was, I'm trying to remember my history now, Morgan.
Brain fart.
It might have been the Spanish-American War or the Mexican War. I'm not sure, but or might have been, I don't think it was it wasn't the Revolution. But anyway, their guys volunteered, and so that's where they got that nickname, Volunteers. Right. But all right, so that'll do it for today. We'll see you next Tuesday, everybody. Have a great weekend, and stay safe from the hurricane.
Sounds good.